be a bust. Now, if you'll excuse me. Because of you people, I missed my flight. Oh, I was playing Balatro the other day, and I had a really good, fucking deck. I had some joke cards that basically built upon me getting multipliers if I had either a pair or two pairs flying through. And then I run into a boss that said, hey, you cannot repeat the same suit of cards. And I lost. I was like, it was so easy. And then it wasn't. And I was just like, oh, they bullied me for like min-maxing on this. This is insane. Because of you people, I missed my flight. Now I must make haste to arrange for a new one. Who is it this time? Hold it right there, you whippers. First Larry and now you? What is with the scary mobster-like scowl on your face, Edgy Poo? Don't treat me like I'm some sort of nuisance. I've been meaning to say, but all you keep talking about things I don't get at all. You're leading this lady in the sad, depressing, lonely dust and I'm about to cry in. Why did you have to speak up right at this instant? But you know what, Edgy Poo? Cheer up. Because I'm about to give you the most wonderful thing. The most wonderful thing from you. It's so super special that I couldn't give it away to just anyone, you know. Oh, my special present of love to my sweet Edgy Poo. Are you ready? It's this. It's a box of those samurai dogs, right? Yes, oh, Edgy Poo, go on and eat one, and you'll feel right as rain. Are we through here? Why did everyone get so quiet all of a sudden? Edgy Poo! Tell me you understand the depths of the lady's love for you? I'm not one to hand out snacks willy-nilly, you know. No, sir. The thought occurred to me that maybe it would be good if I fed you in this bowl. One day it's my dream to serve you some of my homemade food. I mean, isn't it desire everyone to make sure their beloved never goes hungry? And that's what I want to experience. Although... I mean, isn't the desire of every woman to make sure her beloved never goes hungry? And that's what I want to experience. I'll tell you one thing though. A long time ago, they used to say I'd make the most delicious meal out of any ingredient you threw in front of me. Oh, I was a star in the kitchen back then, and I was... Mr. But can't you do anything about her? There is no power on earth that can force that woman to silence. But I'm so sick and tired of it. All you people do is look down on me. Even this box of samurai dogs played me for a fool. It had a special design on it, like a Japanese flag, so I thought it was special. But when I ate one, it tasted like all the rest. Oh, it made me so mad. A special box with a Hinamaru-like fan on it? I've never heard of such a piece of merchandise existing before. However, there is the red sun on this fan is filled in. Is it possible? It's blood! After the show, the samurai dogs were piled up on the dressing room floor. However, there's no such thing as a Hinamaru dog. This contradiction of facts between something that should not exist and yet does. The rays from this red sun may just be what's needed to point us into the right direction. A present? The CEO Bigwig basically told us to play delivery boys. We were supposed to hand the dogs off to the embassy people and tell them hi. I had to pile them to the pushcart just to move them. I believe you understand what this means, correct? You kill Mr. Kochin at this theater and then place his body inside pushcart. Then, you force the Steel Samurai to willingly move the body for you. It's time to piece the final pieces of this logic puzzle together, no matter how fragile or small the connections may be. Once we find them all, the way to the truth will be revealed. Oh, damn it. That was the last one. I've been playing on one life this whole time. Why did they never, like, even when I go into a new, like, checkpoint, give me, like, a full health? The killer used the pushcart to transport the body, which means that they had to remove the samurai dogs from within first. Therefore, the samurai dogs that were piled up on the dressing room floor were most likely taken out of the pushcart by the killer. That which should not exist, this box of samurai dogs with a Hinamaru on it. If this red sun was filled in when the killer was busy removing the samurai dogs from the pushcart, then it's proof that the murder took place in the dressing room. And as long as this red substance is out to be what I believe to be, Wendy Oldbag, I thank you. What you have given to me is truly something very special. Edgy poo! Mr. Edgeworth? Are you feeling okay, sir? Mr. Alba, as I suspected, you killed Mr. Cochin in the dressing room. How many times must I listen to you repeat yourself? Haven't you figured it out yet? Your words are meaningless, worthless, and powerless. The only way I'm going to continue to cooperate is with some definitive evidence. That arrogance, that self-confidence. You believe that you've erased every piece of evidence that could incriminate you. However, there remains one piece here, and it is what will put you away for good. Ha! You're bluffing. Oh, hey Mr. Edgeworth. Sounds like you finally found them. You finally found the fangs we need to go after this guy's jugular. So tell us, what about this box of samurai dogs that is going to put the old man away? That trace of evidence that will bring him down? Why, it's here, of course. This box of samurai dogs with the Hinamaru fan in it. This should have never existed. So I want you to take a good look at this red spot. It's a single drop of blood. Huh? What'd you say? Agent Lang, I like this blood analyzed post-haste. I gotta admit, I'm a bit surprised. I can't believe we found blood in a place like this. Hey you! Get this to the lab, pronto! But why was there blood in the box to begin with? If we think about the flow of the crime, I think the reason will become obvious. Larry, you said you transported the steel samurai dogs with the pushcart, right? Oh yeah, you have a great memory, Edgy. This pushcart was a bit too big for my son, you know what I mean? So to make sure everyone could see him, I had to pile some stuff in. I figured that the samurai dogs were there, so I used them to fill up the cart. If what Larry says is true, then what about the boxes doing on the floor? I see, the killer took them out in order to place the body in the pushcart. Exactly, and that is when I believe the victim's blood found its way onto that box. But when my men investigated that room, not a single box of samurai dogs was in there, because embassy staff members had already confiscated them. Yes, no doubt to hide the evidence of the murder. It's a good thing Miss Oldbag managed to steal one box before they got to them, huh? Looks like Miss Oldbag also managed to put this great thief to shame. What a scandalous way of putting that. I didn't steal, I received it from myself. Kirkus Alba, I'd say this was one very fatal oversight on your part. Sorry to rain on your little love fest, however. How can he be so self-confident in no-win situation from him like this? Even if that blood turns out to be Mr. Cochin, then what? It's because it's not Mr. Cochin. It's your blood from when you got stabbed earlier in the neck. So, Mr. Edgeworth, it sounds like he's not ready to call it quits, huh? The sole piece of evidence that was left at the scene of the crime. That alone has shed light on a new fact. At the very least, we now have proof that the murder occurred in the dressing room. And? You say that like it means something. Huh? Excuse me, sirs. Report. What are the results of the analysis? Sir, the analysis came back and confirmed that the red substance is blood. I knew it. With this Kirkus action. Mr. Edgeworth, I wonder if you might humor my question. Your question? The one from before, or have you forgotten? Even if that is Mr. Cochin's blood, what difference would it make? Like we already told you, it proves that the crime was that dressing room. But it doesn't prove that I'm your killer, does it? That's... He has a very good point. The blood on that box doesn't prove Mr. Alba is the killer. Then this evidence, it's meaningless. That can't be. We're so close, sir. I want to smack this smug look off his face. Come on, there's gotta be something we can do. We finally found a solid piece of evidence. There must be something we can expose with it. And think of a single thing. Now, if you excuse me, I'll be on my way. Who was that? It's too late. I won't allow anyone to stop me now. It wasn't me, pal. It wasn't me this time either. It wasn't me either. It was me. Why did you... because I haven't finished reporting everything to you yet, sir. There's more. What? Hurry up and spit it out. Yes, sir. That blood I mentioned, it's not of the same blood type as the victims. What? No. What? What do you mean it's not the same type? You mean it's not the victim's blood? If it isn't his, then who the hell's is it? I don't know, sir. All I know is not the same blood type as the victim, sir. What should we do now, Mr. Edgeworth? I have no idea what's what anymore. Neither do I. I know! I know! My, what an amusing turn of events. That blood drop proved to be true, alright. Namely, my words. And which one of your words would that be? The ones where I said that your words are meaningless, worthless, and powerless. That blood has nothing to do with the murder investigation whatsoever. Need I remind you that the blood got into that box long before it entered my embassy? What sort of nonsense? Yeah, it's blood, pal. There's no way it's not related to the murder. So you would like to believe. Or what if someone preparing the samurai dogs had a small nosebleed? What then? That's possible. Damn it. Have we been wasting our time on a red herring? The blood doesn't belong to anyone connected to the case. That should be clue enough. Kirkus, oh, you bastard! Silence! Don't you ever address me with such a filth word again. I've wasted enough time here with you, and you have your answers. Now let me through. Alba, it doesn't matter when you run off to. You'll never escape me. Someday, I'll have the satisfaction of sinking my fangs into you. You'll see. And all of Interpol will be behind me, working to see to it that that day comes. Do you know what your words sound like to me? They sound like the whinings of a pathetic loser of a mutt. Is this really the extent of all we can do? Is the blood really from someone completely unrelated to the case? Or is there another possibility? Someone else other than the victim? Just when I thought I had backed into a corner, it is I who had been backed into one. In a situation like this, what would that man do? What would he, who can turn any desperate situation around, do? Turn it around. That's it. I must turn my way of thinking around. It's not whose blood is this. It's whose blood could get onto a box like this. And if I think of it that way, if the blood got placed into the box when the body was being placed into the push cart, then the owner of said blood must have been in the dressing room at the time. And there's only one person that could be. Well, I must praise you for trying so hard. It's because of you kids that I was removed from center stage, and will be forced to live out the rest of my life in the shadows, unfortunately. It's not a total loss, as the underworld will allow me more freedom than you'll ever know. Freedom, like what that raven feels like it's through the dark night sky. You can't lay a finger on me. Not now, or ever. The arm of the law is powerless before me.
Objection!
Powerless, is it? I wouldn't be so sure if I were you. What do you mean? Allow me to describe you in one word. Pitiful. Pitiful? How so? Kirkus, Alba. Your wings were clipped long ago. And for someone who was trying to fly away on them without noticing that fact, pitiful is the perfect word to describe you. Mere words. What do you mean his wings are clipped, Mr. Edgeworth? Just what you think it means, okay? We had already caught him in our trap a while back, with an incredibly powerful, definitive piece of evidence. Hey, Mr. Earth to Mr. Prosecutor, care to speak in English? What are you talking about? What piece of evidence? The piece I speak of is, of course, this drop of blood. But we know it's not from the victim. I don't see how it remains relevant to the case at all. Miss Von Karma, I believe that's exactly why it's very important to the case. And the important part, and the part that's most important, is the fact that it's not the victim's blood. You're looking a bit stale, a bit pale. Good. Then I believe you're already aware of what I mean. Then you know who the blood belongs to. Of course I do. This piece of evidence is the irrefutable proof that will stop the killer in his tracks.
Take that!
The blood of the red sun on this box belongs to you, Kirkus Alba. What? Why is his blood on the box of Samurai Dog's? He's not even the victim. The blood fell on the box when Mr. Kochin's body was being loaded into the pushcart. At the time, the only two people in the dressing room were the victim and his killer. So that's what you mean. If blood doesn't belong to the victim, then there's only one other person it could belong to. Yes, and that person is the murderer himself. That is the only logical conclusion. But Mr. Kochin was the one who was stabbed, sir. Why would Mr. Alba have been the one who was bleeding? What if during the murder, Mr. Kochin had fought back? You mean if before Mr. Alba could kill him, Mr. Kochin managed to wound Mr. Alba? Yes, and I believe we have a piece of evidence that proves he was bleeding then.
Take that!
Mr. Alba, you bear on your body a great wound. That was from when the mask attacked me with a pair of scissors. Yeah, and that happened way after he was in the dressing room. Ah, but is that what really happened? You can manufacture a weapon by smearing blood on it, so I just can't pick up that as a fact. Shall we try a test, Mr. Alba, and see if the shape of your wound matches the scissors? You really are something else, Mr. Edgeworth. You don't let a single thing slip you by, no matter how insignificant the possibility. You're the one to talk, Mr. Alba. You managed to give the law the slip for 10 years as the smuggling ring's leader. No matter the danger, you can hide every last ounce of fear and anxiety from everyone. You truly are a one-of-a-kind criminal. I am the master of my fear. However, to think that a person such as you could miss such a large thing, you believe I've overlooked something. You said that my wound was caused by Mr. Kochin. And it was caused in here, in one of the theater's dressing rooms, right? Yes, that is correct. I like to point out that it's simply not possible. My wound is a stab wound, and one that could only have come from a blade. I wonder where you will propose that such a weapon come from. This theater is packed with security guards. It would have been impossible for anyone to come to this area with a weapon of any sort. Just as Mr. Alba was able to bring in the alabastrian knife in the bouquet, there must have been some other way to sneak in a weapon of some sort. But as long as you can't prove what that other way is, all your talk about Mr. Kochin stabbing is pure nonsense. So if that other way does exist, you better hurry and tell me how. With pleasure. What? This piece of evidence shows us how Mr. Kochin brought a weapon into this theater. What? This piece of evidence shows us how Mr. Kochin brought a weapon into this theater. What the hell?
Take that!
Among law enforcement, this piece is known as the Yatagarasu's key. That key! That's the key my father stole from here 7 years ago. And it is a very unique in that it's both a key and a knife, meaning that under the guise of a key, it could have been easily brought to the theater. You couldn't dispose of the knife that stabbed you. Therefore, you wiped off the blood and placed it back into Mr. Cochin's pocket. After all, the key itself opens the safe in his office. And inside that safe was a document about the Cadopian papers signed by Mr. Cochin. In order to make it look like Mr. Cochin died as the leader of the smuggling ring, you had to make it so that the police were the ones who opened that office safe. All that hard work to save yourself only served to destroy you in the end. Shall we try matching this knife blade with your wound, Mr. Kirkus Alba? And that is what some may call the coup de grace. Impossible. You can't take me down. Swine, all of you, especially Manny Cochin. This is all because of that man's betrayal. He sought to steal control of the smuggling ring from me by removing me as ambassador, which is why he deserved to die while bearing the guilt for all his crimes for me. That's why I sent out the Yatagarasu card, and how this incident was born. Manny was supposed to be the smuggling ring's leader who was killed by the Yatagarasu. But I had yet another reason, yet another story that was supposed to play out. Manny's death was supposed to bring everything to a close. And I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling prosecutors. Mr. Alba, I'm afraid there is one more question I forgot to ask. This country, or Alabas, which country's court would you like to face first? Either way, it's game over for you. This is it, the big day. It's Mr. Alba's trial today. Wrecked. And next week, he's scheduled to stand on trial in his own country of Alabast. Francesca's heading that one. I suspect she'll be able serving a full course of whiplashes at it. Having to face Miss Von Karma in court right after facing you, sir? Shh. I don't even want to think about what that would be like. I caught a glimpse of Mr. Alba as he was being escorted to the courthouse. And boy, he looked about as glum as I do the day before I get my monthly paycheck. You know, I've been thinking. That flight attendant and even Mr. Portsman were all Mr. Alba's secret agents. Correct. That smuggling ring was the common thread between all of the incidents. Cammy Neal was to provide support during smuggling ops, using her job as an attendant. Mr. Portsman was to manipulate trials related to the ring to end in their favor. Go you airlines and even the prosecutor's office? No one was safe from the smuggling ring, huh, sir? I suspect there are even more members to this ring spread throughout the world. Yeah. It sounds like such a big op, I can't even begin to imagine what it's like. What is it, detective? Nothing, it's just... Well, come to think of it. Mr. Ernest Amano's trial is also scheduled for later today, sir. I'm aware of that. Mr. Amano has been working with the smuggling ring now for over 10 years. He used the Amano Group's various connections worldwide to assist the ring. But all that has come to an end, as this conglomerate is now undergoing harsh scrutiny. I owe Mr. Amano a debt of gratitude, but he must pay his debt to society. Well, with the arrest of both Mr. Alba and Mr. Amano, I guess that about wraps up the KG-8 incident as well, huh? I suppose so. The real killer in the KG-8 incident 10 years ago was Mr. Manny Cochin. And 7 years ago, the killer in the second KG-8 incident was Mac Rell. Those two facts are the unshakable truth. However, it seems that a lot of effort was put into hiding these and other truths from us. And I will expose it all at the trials today. You're solving cases left and right today, aren't you, sir? CCU and Deed Man, perhaps even now, those two brave souls who try to make the truth known can rest in peace. By the way, I received some gifts from Ambassador Paleno. Shrimp, crab, beef. I don't need any of these, so I'm giving them to you. What? Seriously, sir? They'll never see it coming. Wait. Actually, I don't think I want them anymore. The way you're holding them. Don't tell me they're just coupons, sir. Detective Gumshoe. Have you not read the paper recently? Ever since the two countries became Kadopia again, its economy has changed. Really? And it seems that Ambassador Paleno has reaped a few benefits of his own from it. He has been announced as the official ambassador of the newly reunified Kadopia. But what a pity. Even though every item he sent is a treasure, you don't seem all that interested. Well, if you don't want them, I can give them to my lovely assistant Kay. Wait, that's not what I said. Mr. Edgewood, please let me have them, sir. Actually, come to think of it, where is Kay? How come she's still not here? Hey! You gotta be more alert than that. I can't believe you didn't notice. I was even mimicking Mr. Edgewood's voice for a bit. I totally didn't notice you, or realize that voice was you. Bang Z says, ferocious love blooms with each new spring, even on a battlefield. Agent Lang, a pleasant surprise to see you here. It's been a long time since I set foot in the courthouse, but I wasn't going to miss watching the guy who screwed my countries finally get what's coming to him. Well, that and something else. I want to see an action in court. Is that so, Agent Lang? We flushed out all the counterfeit bills, so Zhang Fa is finally at peace again. Apparently, the plot behind Intergalactic is supposed to be based around religion, and why is it bad to go against it? Is this coming from the same leak that leaked The Last of Us 2? I would have thought they kept those leaks pretty airtight at this point. Or was this part of like those Sony leaks, or like... Oh, Neil Druckmann talked about it specifically? Oh, okay. I mean, we'll see when we get there. I'm just more curious to see how it actually plays, because, I mean, right now, all I just saw a cinematic, and the cinematic was not that interesting. And it's all thanks to you, so I just want to say, thanks. I've heard about those leaks, and I don't know if it's true. I don't think so. I would think maybe you'll get the leaks like in Last of Us 2, where they sort of leaked it, you know, after, just before it got released. I don't know, but I think it's too early for leaks to happen right now. I mean, this isn't Capcom, for God's sakes. I should be the one thanking you, Agent Lang. If you hadn't negated Mr. Alba's extraterritorial rights, I would not have been able to bring him to trial. I believe the victory belongs to both of us in this case. First game from Naughty Dog that sparked your interest? It's the opposite. It's one of the few in the wild that hasn't. I like all the other ones. Uncharted, obviously. The first Last of Us. Crash Bandicoot. The team behind Spider-Man had their entire game leaked for next 6 years. Yeah, but that was an actual breach of security. That isn't just like, oh, it's a leak from somebody telling somebody. This is literally just like, hey, somebody hacked into the files and found everything, including employee details, all that stuff. Look, don't get me wrong, I'll still never forgive you prosecutors. and I have zero interest in the truth you talk about in court.